Hi Michael, this is Yinidu from team RoboGO. Today in this video presentation I'll be going through software testing. The contents of this presentation can be referred back to the textbook which is Software Engineering by Somerville and our study guide. I'll be going through the importance of testing, software testing policies, types of testing, testing tools, testing challenges and inspections. Why testing? Testing helps to demonstrate the developer and the customer that the software meets its requirements. This leads to validation testing. Secondly, it discovers situations in which the behavior of the software is incorrect or undesirable. This leads to defect testing. If we do not identify the defects early on in the project, it might lead to chaotic behavior of the system later on. Testing policies. Testing policies actually helps to select and define test cases. All functions accessed through the menus should be tested. Combinations of functions accessed through the same menu should be tested as well. Whenever user input is required, all functions must be tested with correct and incorrect inputs. Types of testing. There are three major types of testing: development, release, and user testing. Development testing is the responsibility of the software development team. It can be further divided into three types: unit testing, component testing, system testing. Unit testing is to test individual objects and methods. Component testing is to test a group of objects which are related to each other. System testing is to test a partial or a complete system. This is an example from our project for unit testing. As you can see, this test class is for the class coordinate, and unit test cases have three parts. First is to define the inputs and the outputs, the desired outputs, and secondly there's a part to call the objects or methods, and finally we will see if the output of that method is equal to the desired output. Secondly, we have component testing. So component testing is to test one or more classes which work together. So in this test class, we are calling multiple classes, which is robot, GUI window, and coordinate class, and followed by testing testing them together if they work accordingly. Lastly, for development testing, we have system testing. In our project, we have done regression testing. That is, whenever new components are added to the system, we will run tests using the build file to see if that new part has not broken the previous code. We have also done some black box testing in the development phase, that is to work with use the system, put some inputs and see the output. An example, we have found that closing the GUI window and choosing no when the user is prompted to confirm closing will actually close the window. Second types of testing is release testing. This is the process of testing a particular release of a system that is normally targeted at the customer or users. It should convince the supplier of the system that it is good for use by showing that it delivers its specified functionality, both functional and non-functional, performance and dependability. We will consider this as a black box testing in which the behavior is only determined by studying its inputs and related outputs. This can also be further divided into three types. First is requirements-based testing. Requirements should be testable. It is a form of validation than defect finding. Secondly, we have scenario-based testing. This is an approach that devises typical scenarios of use and use those to develop test cases for the system. Scenarios should be realistic, such as real users should be able to relate to them. Deliberate mistakes can be done to check the response of the system to errors. Finally, we have performance testing under release testing. Test for performance and reliability to ensure that the system can process its intended load. This is also called stress testing as it makes demands that are outside of the design limits of the software. More applicable for distributed systems that depend on coordination of data through the network. As for release testing, we have chosen requirements-based testing, which is our test report, which we'll also submitting along with our final documents. So final type of testing is user testing. This can also be further divided into three types: alpha testing, beta testing, acceptance testing. Alpha testing is actually where the users work with the development team on site for testing. Beta testing is where the development team release a particular version of the software to the user to test and provide feedback. Acceptance testing is where the customer tests the full working system to decide whether or not it is ready to be accepted and deployed. Acceptance testing will follow the following process. First, define acceptance criteria. Secondly, plan acceptance testing, followed by derive acceptance test and run acceptance tests. Finally, they will negotiate the test results and reject or accept the system. Testing tools. We have used two major tools in our project, JUnit and Apache Ant. JUnit is the de facto standard testing framework. When integrated with an IDE such as Eclipse, it's easy to create and run test cases. Apache Ant was originally used to build projects, but now we can also use it to run test cases. This is an example of JUnit being used in our project. As you can see, we have imported the JUnit framework. And for Apache Ant, this is a part of our build file. First, we will compile the test cases, the test classes, and followed by running them. The good thing about this tool is that we can run multiple test cases in one go. Testing challenges. Generalization or inheritance makes object class testing, whether it will be unit or component testing, more complicated. We cannot simply test an operation in the class where it is defined and assume that it will work as expected in the subclasses that inherit the operation. Testing is also time consuming. If you do not start testing right from the word go, you might run out of time before the project ends. And also there's a dependency on the SRS, system requirements specification. If the SRS is not specific or ambiguous, it's hard to come up with test cases. Inspections. Inspections is actually an alternative for testing because not all errors can be found using software testing. Periodic software inspections to question the development team if we are building the correct product should be done during the project development period. That's all I have for software testing. Thank you.